Hi everyone, this is Jacqueline from She Writes Studios, and welcome to today's Light the Torch ceremony. And today we are rising above the noise with the ultimate blueprint for success, the $1 million coaches, mindset, methods, and mastery. We are joined by the elite visionaries who are pulling back the curtain on the strategies used to scale influence and leave a lasting legacy. So if you're ready to lead and scale, your next level starts right now. Hello, coaches. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello,
Hello.
hello.
Hi,
Hello.
everyone. Yeah, so let me go ahead and start this conversation with Hannah. What inspired you to gather all of these women and start this mission as $1 million coach? And to the rest of the authors later on, what made you say yes? Aside from it being Hannah asking, why did you say yes? Let's start with Hannah.
I think for me, I wanted a different kind of book, like not just to focus on the actual money aspect, but the mentality and the mindset that comes behind it. And so this is the truth about when I put this call out. I always know that whenever I put a call out for a book, that the right women will respond. It's kind of a no-brainer. I don't actively go out and reach out. Sometimes yes, but most of the time if they respond back, then it's kind of like they're in alignment, and those are my favorite kinds. So, but the book, I wanted this book, and I do believe this book will be utilized tremendously this year, because we are all looking for, yes, we want that monetary, that wealth, right? But we also don't want to die making it. And so I feel like every strategy that's in this book is so different, but each one is necessary and impactful. So it's actually one of my very favorite books out of every book we've ever published. And I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying that, but it is. That's why I came today. I was like, I'm excited. I want to be part of this. So I'm going to shut up now.
Awesome. Well, what inspired the rest of you, the authors for this book? What made you say yes to Hannah?
I will just say I went along with the same thing that Hannah was saying is I think we get stuck as wealth being products, being houses, being cars, and wealth is not just about having things. And you can have all the things in the world, but if your health crashes, where's your wealth? If you have all kinds of things, Harvard study showed that like after $75,000 in making a year, that money was not the thing that gave people joy, right? So you can make above 75,000 and that doesn't bring joy into people's life. That doesn't bring well-being. And people don't on their deathbeds go, I wish I made more money. So I think it's really about taking inventory of what do we have and being grateful for that, and then moving into how can I create more of that, those collaborations, loving people, what kind of legacy do I want to leave? And one of the questions I asked in my chapter is, what kind of millionaire do you want to be?
That's awesome. That's wonderful. Thank you, Erica. Anybody else who'd like to share?
I'll share, but I feel like I have a million things in my head, so I don't know if it's going to come out very well. I was like, which avenue do I go through? So I am one that has created a 7-figure income and plus, and I also have been a completely broke single mom where I was scrambling I couldn't even pay rent. Like I'd have to make deals with my landlord. Like if I paint this fence, if I do this, so like I've been on both ends of the spectrum. And one thing that I want to be no matter what is an example of what's possible for women. And it's not just about the money. I actually have a really dreamy lifestyle right now. But when when me and my husband looked at our account for the first time, when we hit like the 7-figure mark, that was the big goal. That was like, whoa, we're going to hit that. Like, why, and we met each other, second marriage, met each other broke, built everything from scratch. And when that hit, we're like, wait, we like don't feel different. We like thought it'd be like some big crazy change, and it wasn't, but it was a stepping stone. And when we looked at each other, it's like, oh my gosh, like we got to dream bigger. And it is not about the money. Like the money gives you, it's what you can do with the money. And so, but with all this being said, that I have been on both ends of the spectrum, I will also want to say that in my business, I do have my hands in multiple businesses. I do believe in multiple sources of income. But in my coaching business, and then this is like my dream, this is my heart, this is my baby. I did a lot of things wrong, and I pushed really, really hard. And I tried to like copy like all of the little cool things that were happening that were making other people successful within their coaching business. And what I realized for me is that I was completely out of alignment with who I was and what I was doing and what I was doing. And I had come away from like what even was bringing me success. And so in my chapter, I talk a lot about just like simplifying and truly being in alignment with who you are, because if you don't love what you do, that's like a really big indicator that you are off track. And so when I said yes to it, I just felt that I'm like, yes, I want everyone in the coaching industry to be $1 million coaches. I want everyone. And it's not because of the money. It's because of what the money can do for you and what it can do for other people. And the caliber of person you become by stepping into that role, so anyway, being an example of what's possible, but I will stop and give other people an opportunity.
I'll share.
Yes, Andrea.
When I first got that email, I totally ignored it. That's the honest truth. Like, there's no way I'm writing a $1 million coach's book. There is no way I'm writing this book. And it came around again. I'm like, okay, I think I need to write this book, but what am I going to say in this book, right? Because when you hear $1 million coaches, it's like, how do I talk to these $1 million coaches? How do I talk to these people? But what grabbed me the most is like what Erica and both Amy has already said, that it's not about $1 million coach money. Yes, $1 million, but success is not only about the money. And in my chapter, I talk about Christian women, because Christian women particularly, they are the ones that they don't see themselves as $1 million coach or $1 million business, right? They see, I'm a Christian, I can't make a lot of money because people are going to say I'm greedy and I'm not supposed to make all this money. And so my chapter is about telling them, hey, look, you can be $1 million coach, and it's not about just the money. It's about the other things that come with it. Like Amy says, money is really only a tool. And to be honest with you, when I first started my business, I had a mindset of, you know what, I just want enough money to survive. That is what I said. I had a problem myself with making lots of money, because I'm like, if I make lots of money, what are people going to think about me? And so what that did to me was kept me stuck in a certain dollar level. The minute I changed my mindset and I said, wait a minute, that is not what my Bible says. But my God owns everything, and he wants me to live abundantly. Life, everything, success, as far as my health, everything, right? Money is a part of that. Once I did that, everything blew up. I'm like, oh my goodness, I bought a townhouse, I bought the year car. I'm just like, okay, God, this is what you're doing for me, right? And I'm able to help other people. And so I want to understand that you can't help someone else. You can't help further the kingdom without money, right? Because Jesus would not have said, pay your tithes. He said to pay your tithes. Obviously, you have to have something to pay the tithes with, right? And the thing is, he only said 1/10 of it. He didn't say all of it. He still tells you, keep your 90%. I just need 10 of it, which means he wants you to have it. And so my book, I hope that when you're reading this, you understand that God wants you to be that successful $1 million coach. And I'm just going to use the word $1 million coach, okay? He wants that for you. And so don't let the world, because you're not in the world, you only live there, but that's not your home. God is who you are. Look at who you are in him, and let him be who you are, and use money as a tool. It's not a sin. Use money as a tool.
Thank you, Andrea. I love that. And I love that you talked about changing your mindset. What particular mindset for the other authors here? What particular mindset had shifted that you shifted within you that made the biggest impact in your own growth as a coach, as a consultant, as a as a person?
Yeah, Jacqueline, I'm just going to jump in here because I talked specifically about that in my chapter. And one of the biggest mindset changes to me, because I went through that all trying to be a coach, doing all the things, staying really busy, but not making money. And I see so many women doing that. So when the opportunity to do this book came out, I'm like, I know that everyone on this call, everyone who's listening to this, any woman who wants to be $1 million coach can do it. But one of the big mindset shifts for me is about sales. You cannot be $1 million coach without making sales. And I feel so many women get tripped up by that. And they're worried about being perceived as a salesperson. They're uncomfortable asking for the sale. So that was my big mindset shift. That sales, if we think about it the way we bring our gifts to the world, sales are really a service, and we are helping other people out by putting our gifts out there, but asking people to pay us for those gifts. So that was the number one mindset shift for me. And I know it's for a lot of women coaches out there as well.
Yeah, if I can jump in, one of the biggest, the biggest mindset shift for me was owning the identity of being a millionaire. And in my chapter, I spell it MILLION-HEIR. That means that I am here not only to create success for myself, but to leave a multi-generational legacy for my family. I 25 years in the coaching space, and one of the biggest frustrations I encounter when I am particularly doing consultations with potential new coaches, especially women, is that so many of us want to help other people do in their lives what we refuse to do in our own lives, up to and including making money. And so for me, it was having to own the identity, whether it is that you believe that this is your God-given gift or your inborn purpose. If my purpose is to, so for me specifically, it's to impact the lives of 1 million women worldwide. That's a big purpose. I had to fully step into that identity unapologetically, not caring what anyone else thought about who I know myself to be. And so for coaches, since this book is intended for, the betterment or the service of other coaches who are wanting to grow their businesses, you got to own the identity. You have to step fully into it unapologetically.
Cheers to that, right?
Absolutely. Yes. Do not limit yourself. I think that's one of the mindsets. Corinne, do you want to share anything?
Sure. I got so excited listening to everybody else. For me, it was the big thing about coaching other women is the matter of confidence. I was trained as a social worker, and I was sort of an outlier because coming from a South American country, moving to Antigua, a small country, moving to New York, I realized that people had this idea that social workers should be martyrs, always suffering, helping the poor and the struggle. And I felt like, no, we're so qualified. We have so much heart. We have so much courage. Like, why do we need to live this poor, suffering, struggling life? And so I felt like if we develop confidence, we would be comfortable taking our place at the table. We'll be confident recognizing that we can become wealthy because we are so skilled, competent, and we have so much heart. Why don't we monetize everything that we're giving to the entire world? And so now when I work with women, I say to them, you must have the audacity to dream. You must feel like it's okay to be wealthy. You don't have to shrink or feel like something is wrong with you. And so I've been enjoying that, helping women to feel confident enough, bold enough to say, I want to be wealthy. I am willing to give value to the world, but I also want to be compensated for what I do. Of course, you do your charity work. Nothing is wrong with that. You allocate time and space for that, but you should be quite comfortable saying, listen, I'm going to change lives. I want to be wealthy. I want to grow and do all the things that we help others to do. So I was fully on board with this process, and I'm so looking forward to reading the other stories from each of you here.
That's awesome. And I love the word you have to, audacity. You have to have the audacity, right? Now, no, the other factor in this book, aside from mindset, is the method and the mastery. What is one method or strategy from your chapter that coaches can that can help coaches that they can apply to themselves, to their strategy, to help them become better, to reach their goal?
So I'll jump in here. For me, it is automation. And this is so interesting. This is something I learned from my father. My father used to say, do what you do the best and pay someone to do the rest. Right?
I love that.
So if the technology helps me make money while I sleep, then I need to set up all of my automations so that I can spend my real time, my real energy showing up in the highest level of service to my clients and my community. And so for me, early on in my coaching business, of course, I set up all the things, right? Now I outsource that. I outsource the automation. This is how we leverage so that we are not burning out, right? So for me, the number one strategy, if I were starting all over today, the number one strategy would be making sure that I set up the automations that do the heavy lifting on the back end, so that while I'm front facing and present with my clients and my community, all of the heavy lifting is being done on automation.
I love that. Can I jump in for a second? For me, I realized, and this goes back to the other question you had about why did I want to create the book? So initially, I've never seen myself as a coach, and I could truly tell you, I don't want to be a coach. However, I am in the position that I'm in with all of the different businesses that I own. And women have approached me over the course of the last 5 years asking, how did I do it? How did I make this happen? And I kind of had that moment that Amy was talking about when you hit that first 7-figure, right? And you're like, whoa, this just happened. And I was never one who didn't feel that I could do it. I was the woman who didn't feel I deserved it. So mine was like a worthiness issue. My faith tells me that what Andrea said about, like, yes, we're meant to have abundance, but my mindset told me, am I worthy enough to have this? And so I had to work on a lot of different things over the course of 5 years. And then women asking me, can you teach me? So that's where that coaching thought process came in. But as I was writing my chapter, I wanted women to know it is about what Dr. Frantonia said about automation, but it's also women having a fundamental understanding of their numbers. Like, they need to know what they want to make. They need to know what systems to utilize to make it happen. They need to know the statistics, like how many women need coaching and what type of coach does a woman need? Because no one's a one size fit all coach, right? So we have to be very strategic when we're selecting who we are going to hire as a coach or a mentor or a strategist, right? So to me, mine is not so much the focus of the actual coaching itself. It's more saying, okay, ladies, open your eyes and really look at what's going to move the needle. Yes, automation for sure. But you absolutely have to know what you want to do. what the numbers look like, where the demand is. Does your coaching niche fit in that demand? And you go in and you execute there. And so for me, mine wholeheartedly is not coaching. It's more compassionate leadership.
I love that.
So when someone says, can I hire you to coach? I do corporate stuff, but personally, it would be more selective. And I'm actually looking to hire my coach for 2026. And hopefully whoever she is, she can handle what my goals and aspirations are. And that's another thing too. Like, we as women, when we're giving this advice, we need to be prepared for the feedback, because a coach will tell you the truth because they want you to succeed. So when you are looking for that coach, make sure that the one you're looking for meets what you need, the truth, right? Because as coaches, we need to tell the truth. And so my coach would be a wrangler for me. You know what I mean? Because I have, you're laughing at me because you know, but coaching is wrangling too, right? Because you go in and you have all these dreams, these visions. Is a creator and a visionary, it never shuts off, trust me. So when someone like that comes to you, you are the one that says, yes, all of this is possible, but let's do it strategically, in a way that makes sense. And like what Dr. Frantonia says, automation, like give away the tasks that you don't need to do so that you can focus on the bigger picture. And then one more thing, and then I'll be quiet. The new standard, and this is facts, and I put a lot of statistics in my chapter. For 2026 and beyond, 7 figures is really the new
minimum. Yep.
Yeah. It is no longer 6-figure. And it is not greedy. It is the real thing. It's facts. And so I hope this book doesn't only hit like coaching arenas, but I hope it hits other arenas of women who are really truly looking to break that cycle of poverty, of debt, you know. And I think that there's so many, and I've read all the chapters, so I know the book is good, but it's not just meant for coaches. That's what I'm getting down to, is this book is meant for every woman, not just one or some. It's for all. And if every woman became a 7-figure and beyond income earner, it wouldn't matter what president, what person ran this country, because women would tip that scale so massively, because we have the purchase power. We own the cookie. That's it.
Amen.
Wonderful. Well, on that note, though, as coaches who help coaches and other women out there, how do you think we can help them balance authenticity while we help them build their authority, their influence, their name, their career?
So Jacqueline, I'm going to jump in because I feel this follows up on a little bit of what Hannah said. So first of all, we need to be aware that there are millions of coaches in this world. So if you go onto LinkedIn, you might literally find 40 million people that have coach in their name. So from my perspective, I'm going to step back a little bit, and it ties a little bit to Hannah's point about strategy and understand what's going on in the marketplace. I really encourage everyone to start with creating a personal brand so you can really stand out. But that gets to, as Hannah said, really understanding, one, who you are and who you want to represent, and then also your why. Why are you doing this? That, if you really nail those 2 things, and I want people to do it before they even look at any AI, because I do talk a lot about, and I include AI tips in my chapter, because that's where we are nowadays. But I want people to really focus on building a personal brand. And what I mean by that, when I talk about a brand, it's how people feel after they've interacted with you. So if you really focus on building your personal brand first, who you want to serve, why you want to serve them, all of these other things in terms of that's then when you can use automation to drive your services. So I would focus number one on building a personal brand, and then all of the other things. And Jacqueline, that gets to the authenticity that you talked about. If you do that first, before going to AI or before getting to automation, your authenticity will just flow through everything else.
Yeah,
I'd like to add to that. I love that. One of the things that I feel matters too is playing to your strengths. A lot of the coaches that I've started to work with, they're trying to be all over the place. They want to be everything to everybody. And I say to them, listen, you have to identify what your core strengths are and work with that, because you can do that with your hands tied behind your back in your sleep. Identify what you're good at. What do people come to you mostly for? What do people compliment you on? What feels almost like, it's work, but it feels like if, I'm getting paid to do this, I would do this for free. So, you can't be everything to everyone as a high level coach. It's really, really important that you identify your strengths. Yes, you can learn other things, but to be truly authentic, work with what you're exceptionally good at. And people will pay you for that a lot more than just you trying to flutter all over the place.
And can I just add, I love what everybody said, but I will say one of the biggest things, you've got to get yourself out there. You have to show up. And that was like really hard because, going back to what Andrea said, if you're a Christian, and then what Corin said is when you're a counselor, we hide back. And women in general, we lift our spouses up. We lift all the other girls up. But, let me hide back here behind everybody else because I don't want to look prideful. And sorry, I sound a little loud right now, but I'm going to tell you, you got to get out there. You have to show up, and you got to have, you just got to go past that fear. And if you've got to rebrand yourself, you rebrand yourself. I don't care if you've done something for 10, 20, 30 years and you made 6 figures and 7 figures and it fit right then. But if something challenges you to step into something different, give yourself permission to move into that new place in life. And man, there is something magical when we have faith over fear and we step into that and we go, you know what, here I am. I'm going to show up and I'm going to, encourage other people, and I'm going to share what I have to share. And if I need to shift some things and relearn some things, I can do it in the process. Sometimes you're going to mess up, but those things are going to help you level up. Every time you have a fall, you're going to rise back up. You don't unlearn the things you already learned. You're going to learn something more from that, and then something more from that. But you got to get out there and try and make yourself visible.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hop into. I have so many thoughts again from everyone. By the way, Hannah, I love everything you're saying. I'm like, she's like, I'm not a coach. I'm like, except for you, kind of are. Except for everything you're saying, kind of sounds like a coach. Anyway, coming back to the branding, it's interesting that we're just on the topic of branding because yes, it is so important. But I just totally rebranded after years and years of what I've been doing. I just went through a massive rebrand, and it feels so good. Because I feel like you grow, you change, you develop. And then for me, I felt like I was stuck there a little bit because I've been in this space for so long. And I was like, wait, you're never stuck. You get to just decide. And so I just decided and I rebranded, and it does. It feels so much more like my next level me. And so if you guys are if anyone who's reading this book or watching this right now is like, I don't know, do I dare do that? That sounds scary. I've been in this lane for so long. Just do it. If you have that nudge, just do it. And then along the lines of branding, in my chapter, I talk about just the power of one, which is essentially help you with your branding. It's about picking the one dream client. I know we've all kind of touched on this a little bit, but it's understanding the problem that you solve, and that you solve it so incredibly well that you can stand out in your marketplace, and that your offer is simple. I want you to think about big brands, even Nike, their offer was so simple when they started. It was shoes, and developed into other things. But even Victoria's Secret, when you think about when you're going for the 7 figures, when you're going for that benchmark, you do have to stand out, and you're going to stand out by understanding that every time you talk, people know what you're talking about because your brand is so dynamite, right? So one scalable offer that's going to take you there, a marketing system that you love, using, like what Dr. Rantania said, is yes, use help as much as you can, but then just commit to it. Instead of jumping ship, as entrepreneurs, if we're coaches, we're entrepreneurs, right? But we do love to chase the shiny things. We do love to have our hands on 500 things. But if you just committed to this, even for 1 year, to see where you can take it in 1 year, the results are going to be amazing. And all of that goes along with what we're talking about branding. So I just wanted to jump in and just share that as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yes, Andrea, you'd like to share something?
Yes, I was going to say, in agreement with what everyone said, it's like they just finished the whole book. So I would just say, be your authentic self. I think a problem I find with many coaches and even clients that come to me is that they're always looking at someone else, wanting to be. You can't be someone else because you're not them, but you are you. And there's only one you. And so when you think of just being one you, what is it like you said already, what is it that you're particularly good at, right? And it could also be, for example, my coach pulled out of me that being an ex-officer, I am more of that person that can tell you the truth in a very nice way, even if I'm going to arrest you. Okay, so being that kind of person, when he pulled out of me, I realized, wait a minute, I do have the gift of actually telling someone the hard truth in a very loving and non-judgmental way. And when you figure out, in my book, I talk about being sore a lot because that is really my framework. But being sore is for seeing the truth. You have to see the truth. Who are you? You're not someone else. You are you. And own your numbers, like Hannah said, you have to know your numbers. I mean, if you don't know your numbers, everything you do is going to be blind. And then you want to align all of that with your particular strategy. And the R to rise is with accountability. And none of this makes sense if you're not implementing it, right? So Jen, I think it's Jen. Jen could give you her portion. Amy could say what hers is. Erica could say the doctor, and then Corin and Lovely. But here's the thing. If you don't implement anything these ladies are saying, there's nothing in this book that's going to help you. And so when you look in this book, as you read each individual chapter, what I want you to see is, okay, which part of what Jen said I can implement? Oh, the doctor has something. Her automation is great. Let's implement that. And whatever Erica is saying. And so I think that's what you have to look at as to become who you want to be authentic, know the truth, and be ready to be accountable and implement what you read in these chapters.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andrea. And on that note, to close us off here, I'm so sorry that this is such a wonderful conversation. But to close us off, can you share one word or feeling or a takeaway that you would like your readers to get from your chapter? Maybe we can start with Lovely. Lovely had just joined us today, but Lovely, if you can share one word of feeling or a takeaway from your chapter.
From my chapter, good. Hello, ladies. Thank you for having me. Sorry for the lateness, but I would say definitely remember who you are. The becoming, it's mostly the becoming of becoming. So the beginning of your becoming. So remember your vision. You're not here to please anyone. Just know you have a purpose. Move with purpose in everything you do in life. Whatever you have out there to share with others, remember it is something that they will never find in somebody else but you. So be very purpose, on a great mindset, and just lead with your heart in everything you do, and not here to please anyone else. To know that everything you have, whatever you're doing, it is something bigger than others can ever imagine. So.
Awesome.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much, Lovely. Dr. Frantonia?
Yeah. So for me, it's always going to be the inner work. So I have this philosophy: a coach without a coach is a dangerous thing, right? I believe wholeheartedly that coaches need to serve from the overflow, which means that you need to always be doing your own inner work. always doing it, because we carry so much when we are serving the world, right? And you can get to the point where your work turns into martyrdom and you don't have a place where you go. You know, where does the coach go to get coached? Where does the healer go to get healed? And so my number one thing that I want folks to take away from my chapter is everything starts and ends with your inner work.
Mm-hmm.
I agree 100%. Thank you so much, Erica.
I would say that you are a masterpiece. Believe in the possibility of something greater. In brain science, we often say that where focus goes, energy flows. If your focus is on lack, you're going to continue to have lack. If your focus is, I can't do this, I don't know how, you're going to continue to do that. If you focus on, what could I do to get better, and surround yourself with other people who have, find the evidence. If someone else could do it, you can do it too.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Amy?
Mine would just be, if it's on your heart, you can build it. If it's on your heart, that means it's your soul saying, yes, I want this. Yes, this is part of our story, our journey. So listen to it. And if it's on your heart, go for it. Don't give up, because you can.
Wonderful. Jen?
I'm going to ask everybody, what is your personal brand? Who do you want to serve? Why do you want to serve them? And how do you want them to feel after they interact with you?
Wonderful questions to yourself. Awesome. Andrea?
This one I'm going to pull from a line out of my chapter. You don't have to be holy and profitable, generous and strategic, spirit-led and spreadsheet ready. And the best part, all of these beautiful coaches, you don't have to do it alone.
Awesome. I love that. And lastly, definitely not the least, Hannah?
I think what I would say to all women, whether they're coaching or looking for a coach, is the limit is you. So if you remove your own limitations, the sky isn't the limit, you're not the limit, and you can do what you were put here on planet Earth to do.
Wonderful, wonderful. And that's true to everybody listening. And if you feel you're ready to launch and to scale to 7 figures or more, this book is your invitation to lead. The $1 Million Coaches is officially available right now on Amazon. Go grab your copy and start building your $1 Million impact today. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, authors, coaches. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Blessings.
Amy, I just booked a call.